Welcome to One with the Other Way, a podcast about your journey and finances. I'm your host, James. We have Wanda and Peggy with us today, and we are talking about Reddit comments regarding retirement. And the first comment we have is, my parents have basically no retirement savings and are starting to hint that I'll need to help support them. I'm 29 and just getting my finances together. I love my parents. I just want to say that up front because this isn't a post about resenting them. But I'm genuinely scared about what the next 10 to 20 years look like, and I need some perspective from people who have been in the situation. Some context: my dad worked mostly blue collar jobs his whole life, never had access to a 401k of any kind with match, and whatever small savings they had got wiped out in 2008 and 2009, it seems to me. And again during the medical situation about 6 years ago. My mom worked part-time for most of my childhood and has made 18K in a savings account. Neither of them owns property. The hints started maybe 8 months ago, comments about how my family takes care of each other, and references to how my dad's parents lived with his family when they got older. Nothing direct, but the direction is clear. Here's my situation. I make 71K a year. I have 4,200 in emergency fund. I contribute about 8% to my 401k and have about 9K in a Roth I opened 2 years ago. No debt except a car payment of $340 a month and 14 months left. I'm not wealthy, but I'm finally starting to feel like I'm building something. My questions are, how do other people in the situation set boundaries without destroying family relationships? Is there some way I can have an honest conversation about this before it becomes a crisis? And practically speaking, how do I protect my own financial future while not abandoning my parents? Where do you begin working with someone who's got all of these outside external factors that could be influencing their financial picture?
This is a tough one, a really tough one. Love in a family and relationship, it's really the most important thing that we have in the world. Has nothing to do with money. With that said, it is so important for this person to establish the boundaries now. And I think the way that I would approach setting those boundaries is to figure out how he's going to get from here to there. In other words, how he's going to get into his retirement. I said he, but he or she is going to get to their retirement and what that looks like for them, because they have to be realistic for themselves first, right? They have to take care of themselves before you can take care of other people. Once you have clarity around your own retirement plan and getting from here to there, then you know what resources you have to help other people that you may choose to help, in this case, your parents. Yet, I think the first thing is she has to be clear on their own financial picture. Sounds like they've taken a lot of great steps. It sounds like they're moving directionally. Sounds like they've got a nice foundation. But again, getting candid and honest with what kind of retirement that gives them and what do they want. Because if you're not clear on what's your life path is and your life journey, and you're supporting somebody else's journey, you will build up resentments. And that's not necessarily good for you either.
Well, I feel like I'm from that generation that is sandwiched between taking care of your parents, having your children. We talked about this before also on a different podcast, I think. And they said have a conversation with them. And I agree. I mean, you're 29. How old are they? Is this something that, okay, so first, how old are they? Second, they're making these jokes, but you don't know what that really means, right? What is their picture really like? And why are these jokes happening right now? Has something happened in their life that has then made them start thinking about this? And if so, what is that event? And so I would definitely have a conversation with them. I agree that you've done a lot of great things for yourself and you're starting to get yourself on track. I mean, you're 29. Do you have a family? Are you planning to have a family? Those are all huge things. And having your parents live with you later is maybe something that you would consider, or maybe not, depends on your financial thing. But your life is just really getting started at 29. So is this something that they're thinking about 20 years from now? And if so, then I would get them to a financial advisor. What's their picture? If they don't have, they have some savings, do they have any income? And can you do anything with that? Can a financial advisor do anything to help them? I mean, that would be my take on this,
Right.
short version.
Right. But your instinct is to say, hey, they need a financial advisor. Yet the reality is, um, this person who's posting on the post actually needs one first, because they have to figure out what are their boundaries, right? And I think figuring that out first, you can't tell another human what to do. You can only control the things that are in your purview, and those are the things that his income and his retirement.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got to have a conversation with them, because you need to make decisions and you're making it with not all the facts.
Right.
And if they really are joking that they want you to take care of them, then they ought to be willing to have an honest conversation if they're actually thinking that or not. So
Right. Yet at the same time, I think it's helpful to you, before you have the conversation, that you have clarity on what your life is and what you can and cannot do. And then when I'm saying candid, I mean like really candid, and then maybe a third party. You say you're close as a family. Sometimes it's helpful to have another person in the room, right? And I've sat down with parents and children in the same room, and to have a candid and honest conversation.
It said the dad worked in blue collar his whole life, never had access to a 401k, and they said all of their small savings they had got wiped out in 2008, 2009, and then a medical situation 6 years ago. But my question I'm having regarding this is, one, if they got wiped out in 2008, 2009, we're going on almost 20 years from then. And then obviously there was a medical situation. Whenever bad things happen, what to do when the market tanks, and then how to start moving forward.
we don't know all the situation of what has happened and why they don't have more savings, right? Maybe they've never had a financial advisor, so they don't know that even though you don't have 401k and all, that you could possibly be doing IRA savings or other types of investments that you could be doing for your future. So, what happens when the market tanks, Wanda? What do we do?
Buy more investments.
Buy more.
Buy
That's
more.
Right.
But what's interesting is they're calling savings, and they're conflating them with investments. So,
well, maybe we don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, because they could be saying savings and they really meant investment accounts. So we don't know which thing that they're talking about.
I think the takeaway on that is life is going to offer you setbacks and speed bumps. And the thing with a setback or a speed bump is you have to reset and move forward. Take a look at the goal. And again, it's just like second time I'm looking at my logo today, right? And saying you have to reset and go back to moving forward. And the sooner you can reset and go back to moving forward, the better off you'll be. Because it's been 20 years ago since 2000, almost 20 years since that happened. A lot of things have changed. So I think that, again, the important thing is to reset and move forward when you have a speed bump in your life, as all of us do.
Yeah.
The next question we have from Reddit is, I feel like I'm way behind on retirement. Is it as bad as I think I am? 41 years old, single income household, married, wife is 36, 3 children under 12. Salary is about $130K per year. I invest 10% into my Roth 401k plus a 4% company match into a traditional, and max out my HSA. I know I should have been trying to max out the 401k, but it's hard finding the room to do it. Current 401k balance is about $165,000. My HSA is roughly $9K, emergency fund of $37,000. Unfortunately, my HSA balance has suffered due to some surgeries one of my sons needed. Luckily, I think that's behind us. The rule of thumb says that I should have $400K saved, so it stresses me out. But my salary has gone up quite a bit in the last 5 years. I didn't clear $80K until 2020 and received a raise to $105K at the end of 2020. And my salary has gone up about 30% since then. Is it as bad as I fear if I want to retire at 65?
No. So that's a 2 votes for no on that. Congratulations. You've done so many things so well. And I guess first and foremost, I'm glad that whatever the medical issue is behind you, because that was probably the most important thing in your life right now, that's behind you. With that said, you have a family and you have a wife. How wonderful that is. Okay, now let's start taking a look at the retirement numbers, right? Well, even that's doing well because professionally, you've gotten a significant pay raise, right? Somewhere over 20% initially, and then you said an additional 30%. That's like awesome. Professionally, you're doing really well. When you think about the world and they're like, oh, hey, you should have 400,000. Maybe you shouldn't have 400,000. Maybe you are exactly where you need to be. And you need to build on that. Peggy, what do you
Maybe
think?
if you're doing it all by yourself, you need to have 400,000. But if you have professional help, maybe you're just fine the way you are. I think that, yes.
Yeah, but whose numbers are 400,000?
I know. And that's true too. Where did that come from? Anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that there's a lot of good things going on here. And I would talk to somebody and do some things to increase your savings. But I think that definitely with the right type of guidance and investments, you're going to be just fine to retire at 65. There's a long time before you turn 65. You already have a good foundation, right? You have that first 100,000, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
There's more than $100,000 right there. So good for you. And I think that you are on your way if you continue to stay the course and get some good investments and keep savings. And we could think about other things.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we don't know the whole picture. So I would suggest you get a financial advisor.
I like what you're saying about the 100,000. Like, props to you. Off to being a $250,000, off to being 250. It's so important though. You have time on your side. 24 years. You've definitely got time on your side. So you want to put time to work for you. And don't sit back on all your successes because you have had tremendous successes. Don't sit back on your successes. Build, right? And you will get to the retirement you want and so much more. I'm very happy and excited for you, as a matter of fact.
I know. We can probably think about 3 or 4 things that would be helpful right off the bat, but we don't know your situation, so we can't give you that.
Yeah. There's
advice.
A couple things I could tweak that would make it even better.
Right.
So I just and I get excited because, oh my goodness, you worked so hard and you're here. And this is a time to build on that success, I think.
Yeah, I think you're doing great. Keep going.
If you would like to speak to a financial advisor yourself and talk about what retirement looks like or talk about how to prepare for it, you can meet with Wanda or Peggy at financesforreallife.com. You can click the schedule an appointment button on the top right of the homepage, and you can continue listening to this podcast that we post every 2 weeks on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Thanks so much for listening. We hope you have a great rest of your day. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advice offered through Finances for Real Life, a registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial. The opinions voiced in this podcast are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which strategies or investments may be suitable for you, consult the appropriate qualified professional prior to making a decision.